Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome back to some more Total War Rome 2 DEI Divide et Impera here today on the channel. We have another online multiplayer 1v1 this time around with the Mauryan Empire versing the Seleucids. So, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like and subscribe if you're new. So, the Indians have marched on over, I guess, after the death of Alexander. There's been a bit of a power vacuum in the Seleucid realm throughout their strappies, and India has come to parley. They've even brought some Bengal tigers on their back. So India, the Mauryan Empire, is always a really cool and interesting faction. I'm still yet to do a Let's Play on DEI campaign-wise, so maybe I should do that. Maybe that's something I should write on the list in the future. So, looking at the Indian roster, it's actually going to be quite even infantry-wise. Archers, they do have some pretty decent longbowmen there as well, and it's going to be a battle between the Eastern Indian elephants and the Seleucid Syrian elephants as well. The Seleucid player rather has brought up a lot of pikes as they slowly but surely try and close the distance on the front line. They've got a secondary line, the Seleucids, of just some lighter swordsmen. Further at the back, they have their heavy Seleucid cataphractari cavalry. And then further back, those Syrian elephants as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who will win this one. Let me know in the comments your predictions. Will it be the Indians or the Seleucid Empire? The Seleucids have also brought up a unit of chariots as well. So this is a nice flat land battle in the deserts of the Far East. Who will win out on top? Okay, so it looks like the Indian player has basically split his army up in two, really. Maybe even three on that left-hand side. While the Seleucid player has just a strong long front line of those pikes occupying the center. So the Indian elephants are now occupying the right, while the Syrian Seleucid elephants occupy the left. Alright, just speeding up ahead just to wait to see some moves going on. So it looks like the Indian player wants to move up a little bit more, maybe to claim no man's land. And that's what I was saying, the Indians have some decent longbowmen there that have range. Like already, that's a huge distance. Particularly for DEI as well. They are really arcing their shots up and over, and they're putting some pressure on those pikes, which they can't stand too long out in the open, because pikes have fantastic, obviously, melee and pike attack in formation. However, their armor can be desired on most variants. Okay, looks like the Indian cavalry's moved up here. They've just got some light missiles just to annoy and kind of distract the Seleucid player here. Okay, so it looks like the Indian player wants to wrap around and occupy the flank. But the Seleucids have managed to withstand against a couple of volleys, and they seem to be fine. As the Indian archers are just diversifying their shots on that pike line. They're not hitting just one unit. They're spreading out all the health and the hit points. So it looks like the pikes are going to try and close the distance because they don't want to be basically standing there with their pockets getting hit. And the Indian player knows he's got the distance on him, so he's going to pull back. Oh, here we go. So we've got some Indian skirmishers targeting their chariots, which is really quite important. Chariots are amazing in DEI and most Total Wars, to be fair. They've been at like an amazing unit since like the Rome 1 days. And up as recent as Troy as well. They are very, very strong. Particularly once you get some Ares buffs on it, Troy-wise. Okay, so it looks like the front lines are about to battle it out. And maybe some of the Seleucid cavalry is being called here, as the Indians come flying in to some combat. The pikes as well are just being kited here. They are losing a lot of energy just continuing to go forward. You don't want to get too far pulled out and exposed there. And we've got the Indian elephants just holding for now. So it's still about a 50-50. To a man, it's quite even. And the Seleucid and Indian cavalry are just battling it on out on this left-hand side. Okay, so there's some heavy melee infantry here that the Seleucids want to try and target. Thankfully for the Indians, it wasn't a high-octane charge there. They didn't get that momentum and knock them to the floor. And they're probably going to retreat because they didn't trade that well. Looks like the Seleucids are chucking in some weaker infantry. And now the pikes are getting stuck into it as well. Just putting some pressure on their heavier infantry. It'd be interesting to see how well the Indian Tiger Warriors, I like to call them, the Bengal Warriors, do against the pikes. Okay, and then back over this right side. Got some elephants in the fray. It's going to be a super close one, but if already just looking at this, I think the Indian player slightly has the edge. He's reduced those pikes down quite a bit, and he's happy just to sit back and relax and rain fire and death upon them. They just don't have the mobility while this Indian army does. Oh, but to be fair, as you can see, the Seleucids have managed to wrap around a unit of cavalry, and they're actually starting to neutralize their archers as well, which is fantastic for the Seleucids. Yeah, it's so close to call this one. They always are, these 1v1s. Momentum for both players swings back and forth. And further at the back there, we've got an Indian unit capitulating as they're trying to wrap around the exact same side as the Seleucids. But it looks like the Seleucids still have a decent chunk of melee infantry in a line just chilling, as a couple of small little fights and battles are breaking out across the battlefield. Units interlocking and trading. Fighting to the death. But it looks like the Indian player has brought a lot more shields and spear and sword infantry compared to the Seleucids that have relied on their heavy pikes for this one. And then whatever they could spare funds-wise just for some lighter units. The Indian archers are still getting their shots off as well, putting a lot of pressure on those Seleucid elephants, and they've just wrecked them as well. They've managed to bring them down big time there. So I can't see any more, but I think that's it. I think that's the last of the Syrian elephants, and the only elephants maybe on the battle map are those of the Indians. Yep, and they've wrapped around the back as well. They just got caught there, unfortunately. So they did outnumber them, elephants-wise. The Indians brought 2 to the Seleucids 1. And they're still occupying the battlefield. But although he's lost some units, the Seleucids, he still seems to be holding a pretty decent position. Quite calm and confidently. He might have a couple units wavering here and there. But I would nearly say still quite even. 50, 40 or so. But if the Indian player can capitulate a couple more units, get them to push back and retreat, the momentum might continue to swing on the Indians' way. Because most of them are still eager and have plenty of fresh strength yet. Still got a bunch of ammunition with those Indian archers as well. They're still getting those shots off. They're actually opening up a pretty decent angle on those pikes that are just showing their broadside. Yeah, it just seems like the Indian infantry is wrapping around the Seleucids a lot more. Yeah, there goes another. They might be able to bring down this Indian elephant unit if they're lucky, the Seleucids. Which might be just a little bit too late, to be honest. If anything, they're getting more friendly fire. Poor elephants. Have just been absolutely rinsed on through this battle. And now that unit's in a retreat. Okay. So the Indians have basically surrounded the Seleucids. And yeah, it's only a matter of time. There's currently 3 Seleucid units routing now, 4. And there's already been 4 that have been taken off the battlefield. I would say it's GG. The Seleucids are now surrounded. And the Indians just need to mop up the last of them. It'd be pretty hard, I would imagine, to come back from this position. So it looks like the Indians might be able to stake a claim to some Seleucid strappy territory, as the Seleucid Empire will need to lick its wounds and move back, replenish and repair, and convalesce in Mesopotamia, you would imagine. Yeah, they're just routing a lot now, the Seleucids. Mustn't be much longer left for them. They're dropping like flies at the moment. Yep, now they've completely buckled there, and that's it. A close victory, a close defeat, sorry, for the Seleucids. They've gone and capitulated and he's conceded. Pretty good victory for the Indians there. They actually did really quite well. That was a good battle. Unfortunately, the replay's bugged, so we're not going to be able to see the casualties sustained and inflicted, but no matter. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more battle replays, multiplayer battle replays to come in the future. Alright guys, without further ado, I'm going to play the outro now. Unfortunately, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my social media links in the description below if you want to stay connected with me. I also want to say thank you to this month's patrons and channel members: Victor K, Sebastian C, Jordan K, Caesar L, Brian S, Tao, Lion B, Kyle P, Tom C, and White P. My name has been Simpzy. Much love from Australia. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.